Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
As host to Whitetail Rendezvous, I want to say thank you. Thank you for almost 100,000 iTunes downloads. Thank you to the 300 guests who've been on the show. And thank you to over 30,000 followers on social media. Couldn't do this show without every single one of you. And secondly, sometimes the sound quality isn't radio quality, isn't recording room quality. It is what it is. People might be in a tree stand, a box blind. They might be sitting in their pickup truck on a hillside, or they might be traveling to and from a blind or home from work. They're all over. And because of that, sometimes the quality isn't what you would expect or would have hoped for. Neither am I.
This is Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast number 302.
Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and we're heading down to Ashland City, Tennessee, and we're going to meet up with Ben Moore. Ben is a team member for American Root Outdoor TV, owned by Alex and Linda Rutledge. Ben has always dreamed of being the energy he is. He loves chasing whitetail 365 days a year. So he's going to share the secrets that he's learned throughout his career and what his vision for the future is. Hey, listeners, don't forget to text 33444 Food Plot for your free Food Plot ebook. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. Hey, we're heading down to Ashland City, Tennessee. We're going to connect with Ben Moore. Now, Ben is a team member along with Alex and Linda Rutledge for American Roots Outdoors TV. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Bruce. I'm glad to be here.
Well, what was it? About a month ago, Alex was sitting in his truck, and I had an interview with Alex Rutledge, the owner of American Roots Outdoor TV, and lo and behold, Ben Moore was sitting there. What were you guys about to do?
Oh, man, well, we were just riding from town back to Alex's house and going to wait around and go spot some deer out at his farm.
Did you get any deer that night, or did you see any?
Oh, yeah, we seen a lot. I think we seen 20-something out in his food plot that evening. 3 nice bucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many acres?
Alex has got 160 acres. Very, very well managed. I think he's owned it for over 20 years. And, some of Alex's friends have come out there and visited as well as I have. And, they can all tell you it's an unbelievable farm. He's definitely been blessed. I would like to own it myself. One day, hopefully I can. But it's a nice farm. It's a must-see.
Wow. That's in Ohio, is that correct?
Missouri.
Oh, it's Missouri. Pardon me.
Yes, southeast Missouri.
Well, there's good hunting everywhere, and I just hope I can clone myself so I can get to a lot of the places that my guests has certainly invited me. So one of the things we wanted to talk about, and we will talk about listeners, American Roots Outdoor TV, but before we go, big buck down for Ben Moore. What was it, last Sunday?
Yeah, last Sunday. Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us about it. Tell us about from the time you first saw him in camera or visual, and then, how you finally harvested him.
Well, Bruce, it's been a roller coaster adventure with this deer. Last year, I got permission to hunt a property about 10 minutes from my house. It ain't nothing but 154 acres. It's sitting out in the middle of nowhere, and I put some trail cameras on it. Probably 2 weeks after bow season, I got permission to hunt it, so I had no idea about this place. I found the sign, put some trail cameras out, and lo and behold, I get this buck, shows up, 3.5-year-old 8-pointer. He had a big G3 on his right side, I want to say 10 inches or so. So he stood out from all the other deer. Well, I decided to pass him. I had one encounter with him mid-November last year. I let him walk. And this year, I had a better game plan on the deer over there, and I go set some Spy Point trail cameras up, and lo and behold, about, I don't know, October 14th, I think was the first day I got a picture of this deer, and I had a look at him, and I could tell it was the same buck. Now he's 4.5. And he's probably pushing mid 140s, and 10-pointer, really, really respectable deer for Tennessee. And I just kept watching him, and trying to, get a little pattern on him, whatnot. And he was showing up, all nighttime activity. And I wouldn't go in and pressure my areas or anything. I'm just giving it time, let everything get right. And what was it, October 28th? Well, let me back up. I went to hunt, in Missouri at Alex's, and we didn't do any good. The weather was hot and full moon, and they were moving at night. But I got back home and had to work as soon as I got back. And October 28th, I went in and checked cameras. I got a daylight picture of him that morning. So if I was staying, I would have got it done. But he, that was the only daylight picture I've ever got of him. And in October 31st, Halloween night, that was the last picture I had of him for 2 weeks. He completely disappeared. So I didn't know if he'd got shot or what, because I know there was some hunting going on around me. And I just, I didn't pressure the area. And I finally, I told myself, the wind's right, I'm going to go in and hunt. I hunted several times, no encounters with this deer. Just a bunch of 1.5, 2.5-year-old deer. I was letting them walk. That was the deer that I wanted on the farm. And, it was kind of frustrating. And I talked to Alex several times about it. And he told me just, stay with it, be persistent, hunt smart. That's what I did. And, November 27th, almost a whole full month. And when I've got a daylight picture of him, I went in. It was 26 degrees that morning. Perfect, no wind, just calm. You can hear a pencil drop in the woods. I got in there, got set up, and heavy frost. And it was about 6:50. I heard something in behind me. And I turned around, and I could see a hunter coming down the ridge. And I'm sitting there telling myself, I know there's nobody allowed to be there except me. So I'm kind of like pondering what's going on. And it's one of those things like, your heart sink, it's just perfect condition, and then all of a sudden I've got a hunter intruding in the spot. So this guy comes all the way down and sits 20 yards from my tree stand, doesn't even realize I'm sitting there. Doesn't even know I'm there. I've got orange hat, orange vest on. And I'm like, this guy, I don't know what's going on. Well, I wave my hat at him, and he looks up, and he starts to walk off. Well, I'm like, well, I'm going to get down. I'm going to see who this guy is. So I get down, and I approach him, and come to find out, it's the landowner's grandson. I had no idea he was even there or even hunting there. And we talked for a moment, and he was respectful enough to let me, have my privacy there and my peace to hunt, and he walked on off. Well, I got back up in the stand a little frustrated and kind of, like, oh man, did this ruin my hunt? And 30 minutes passed, and I heard something behind me again, and I turned around, and here comes a doe. She's like hauling butt off this ridge, and she comes down it, and I heard like that, and I looked up, and there's a buck. Well, I get my camera turned around to him, and I look at him in binoculars, and I see him. I was like, that's the buck I've been chasing all year long. There he is. He's finally, I'm finally seeing him. And the doe come down, and she got over on the side of the fence rail, and he come down in this little ditch about 50 yards behind my stand and got behind this tree. Well, I'm getting the camera on him and making sure, I'm in focus, and I grunted at him twice with our new American Roots Outdoors grunt call, which, by the way, sounds amazing. This deer, all the hair on his back stood straight up, and he started lip curling and walking sideways. You know how they get real fired up, and he finally got an opening, and I laid him down. It was amazing. It was just an amazing hunt,
And you got that on film, right?
Well, here's the kicker. And I didn't realize. See, this is what happened. And, this is why I say it's such a roller coaster, because, I chased this deer, and I finally get a counter with him and, whatnot. Well, before I shot, I looked down at my camera to make sure he's in focus, and my camera just shuts off. completely just shuts off. And I'm like, there's all this stuff that's going on in the tree stand. Emotions are high, and this deer is 50 yards from me and doing everything a deer would do. And I'm trying to click my camera back on and off, and nothing's working. And I know I had a fresh battery in it. Well, I had to make a decision, whether to take this deer or not. First time I've seen him, this deer like disappear all the time. And I was like, well, as a hunter, foremost, I got to take this deer. I can't let him walk, so I went ahead and took him. But, I talked to Alex about that earlier, and, that's reality to hunting and the filming world. Things are going to happen in the stand, and, it is what it is. But I was still happy to take the deer.
Well, yeah, and so the grandson, he hadn't talked. Well, how would he have known you were there? I guess that's the grandson of the owner. He wouldn't know you were there, would he?
Well, he said he seen my pickup truck on the logging road, and he didn't know where I was hunting at. But he, I guess he, had been down in there before and knew that was a good spot. I don't know. It was the first time I've seen him.
Wow. Just think of all the, you're sitting up there trying to film. You got somebody coming down the ridge, sitting, spitting distance from you. The buck's coming. I mean, wow, that's intense.
Oh, yeah, it was just a roller coaster because, my heart's going up and down. And, and to finally lay that deer down and the way it happened, I called Alex, when I got down and got to him and went over the whole thing. And it was just emotional. And, and what made it even better, my dad had went hunting with me that morning, and he got to hunt a different stand, and he didn't see any shooters, but, he come down to share the moment with me, help me drag it out. But, it was nuts.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that, if you got to have a story, that's a pretty good one. And then now, are you going to share that on American Roots Outdoors TV, or how does that work?
Yeah, what I did is we salvaged the hunt and got the recovery on video and all that. So try to make the best story we can. Like I said, in the filming world, things happen. And you just got to make the best of it.
Hey, while we're at it, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach Ben Moore?
You can go to my Facebook page and just message me or get in touch with me through Alex on American Roots Outdoors Facebook page.
All right. And folks, we're gonna spend the next couple of minutes talking about American Roots Outdoor, owned by Alex and Linda Rutledge. And Alex, a lot of people know him from a lot of different places. He's been in the outdoor industry forever. He's iconic in the industry. And so let's talk about your relationship, how you got together, and kind of, a lot of people ask me all the time. They send emails, hey, Bruce, how do I get in the industry? Do you know this guy or this gal, or can you introduce me, or, what's it take to get going? All those questions. And the best people are the people that are doing it, because I run a podcast and I talk to a lot of great people, but I've never been on a show. And, I've never been a field staff or pro staff for anybody. So, how'd you go about that, developing that relationship with Alex and Linda?
Well, I met Alex a long time ago at a Bass Pro Shops. He was doing a seminar. I was 14 years old. And, I followed Alex, for as long as I can remember through his career, with HS and Bloodline, and, going to numerous seminars and shows with him. And then I got on Moss Elk Pro Staff team, and then, did some shows with him, and just created a relationship, and we just hit it off. And, I have the same views and values as he does in life, and that's just how our friendship started.
So then, did he contact you when American Roots was coming online, or how did that work out?
Well, I was with Bloodline for a short period of time, when he owned it, and we had always kept in touch and talked to each other over the phone. And I knew the plans of this new show after he left Bloodline, and we talked about it and discussed some things and what we wanted to stand for, and that's just how that got created.
And so Alex has been thinking about this for a long time, even when he was with Bloodline. Just kind of give the background for American Roots and really what it stands for.
Well, with what Bloodline stood for and with what American Roots Outdoors stands for, that's the same views that Alex has had through his whole career. American Roots is, about foremost first is our faith and relationship with Jesus Christ. We're a faith-based hunting show, and about our family and how important that is, and to keep our family close to us and involved in everything that we do, in the outdoor industry or outside the outdoor industry. And it's also, about our heritage and our roots. When I think about roots, I think about my family, my dad, my granddad, teach me the sport of hunting and passing it down. And, now I have a 4-year-old stepson that, is ecstatic about hunting. He loves it. To me, that's roots. And that's what we're about. We're about passing on the heritage of hunting and for everybody to sit back and remember on who they are and where they came from.
Now, if somebody wants to watch the show, is it up now, or give us some background how people can view it?
Well, we've discussed it. American Roots is going to launch in January 2017. We're going to start with webisodes. The internet TV is the future of the industry. You can get on 24/7 and watch American Roots Outdoors all day long at any time. You don't have to set a DVR and wait till it comes on TV. So that's our plan. It's in the works right now.
And so, when do you think the first shows will be up on the website?
I'm not exact sure on the date. It'll be sometime in 2017. We'll post the announcement on our Facebook page.
Now, are you guys going to do whitetail hunting, or what types of critters are you going to chase?
Whitetail, turkey, I guess anything that we decide to chase. It'll mainly be whitetail and turkey, and I know there'll be some smallmouth fishing going on. Alex is big in that, and just whatever God chooses us to go after.
Now, how many people are on your pro staff or team member, I should say, for American Roots Outdoors?
We have 17 members currently. I think we have 8 members, and then the rest are advisors of Alex's. And I think we're going to keep it pretty small and tight-knit.
So at this time, you're not looking for any other team members?
No, not currently, no.
Okay, and I like to ask that because that's one question my listeners do. It's, hey, do you know Alex Rutledge? I go, yeah. And is he looking for anybody? I said, not that I know of. And I was talking to a guy up in Canada who's his wife, is related to Jim Shockey, and I put a little blip out on his website. It says, "Man, please don't do that. We get so many hits." And so I'm learning, to just say, "Hey, nobody's looking right now," or just to ask first before I post something, because social media is just an incredible, tool. But we got to be, I got to do it right, Yeah,
but we're not. We don't turn anything down. If somebody's interested in being a part of what we're doing, feel free to message Alex on his Facebook page or on American Roots Outdoors page, and send us a little bio about yourself and a little resume. We don't turn anything down. You never know where friendships and partnerships lead to. So. Yeah,
and that's so true, and that's how you get on the show today. Like I said, earlier. One thing you're passionate about is the outdoors, and you mentioned a little bit about it, but let's talk more about your hunting tradition and what it really means to you and how you're passing it on.
Well, I got started in the outdoors, at the age of 4. My dad, went hunting his whole life, and I grew up watching him and just dying to go, and finally my dad took me at 4, and I harvested my first deer at 6 years old. It was a 6-point buck. I took it at Land Between the Lakes in Tennessee, off the side of Lake Barkley, And, since then, my passion has just been so strong for the outdoors. It's not just, a hobby of mine. It's a way of life. I'm a 365-day hunter. I think about it constantly. It's always on my mind. I'm always out there doing something hunting related. And, without that, I honestly don't know where I would be in life. It's instilled great values in me, to be a steward of the land and conservationist, and to, appreciate God's creation, in the outdoors. And, I have a 4-year-old stepson, and, I'm trying to pass those values and views on him. And, he's just ecstatic about it. When I killed that deer Sunday, I couldn't wait to get home and show him, and he come out there, and man, he was just tore up about it.
And that's great. Now, locally, are you involved in any conservation groups or working with other kids?
Well, of course, I'm an NWTF member. I've been, for a long time. I've taken several youth hunters out hunting, for our Hunters Night Out thing that we have here locally. And, I try to get involved as much as I can in the youth, with my schedule allows me to, because, ultimately that's the future of our sport is the youth. So.
It sure is. And let's talk for just a couple of minutes about women in the outdoors and your perception of that and what you're doing to help gals along.
Well, I've taken my girlfriend several times hunting, to try to get her a better understanding of, what it's all about. And, I think that's important, for men and relationships to take their women out hunting and let them see, why we love it. And I think that right there, sparks the interest of more women in getting involved in the outdoors.
Now, when do you think – go ahead.
I think it's a good idea for women to be just as involved as men are. We have a couple women team members on American Roots Outdoors, and I get ecstatic watching a woman going out there and taking a whitetail 150-inch deer. It's pretty fun to me.
Well, it's exciting for anybody, men or women, young or old. I know on social media I've just seen a lot of young kids, and I've seen a lot of grandparents like myself, out there, and people are sharing that. It's just the photos just on, hey, look at me. It's, hey, look at my gramps, or look at my nephew, or son coming up, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Now let's talk about, lessons learned and tips and techniques that you could share with our listeners about whitetail hunting.
Well, a saying that I've always went by, you're as good as the land that you hunt on. That's true and not true. You can make a property better, and it takes some discipline. It takes some time. It takes some money to get a property good. I'm fortunate. I don't have to go hunt a lot of public land. I've got several leases that I hunt and put a lot of time in. But the key thing is to not pressure your hunting spots, to be scent free as possible. A product out on the market now is Scent Crusher. I'm full blown believer of it. It's kind of a sister product of Ozonics, but they have the from the house to the field back to your house. And they have everything covered. But be scent free. Past the young deer on your property. Don't shoot that 2.5-year-old or 3-year-old buck. Let him walk. Let him see what he's going to do. It paid off for me. I count heavily on trail cameras. That's a 24-hour scout out there on your property that lets you know everything. I have a ton of trail cameras that I keep going all year long, and it's helped me out. And honestly, I told Alex, the other day, I believe if it wasn't for trail cameras, there'd be still a lot of bucks walking today. And another key thing that is a tactic of mine is aerial maps. those help me out so much to watch my property, from thousands of feet away, to look down and see everything that surrounds it, and let me find the pinch points and funnels in my properties, and that's where I put the stands. So if I had to say anything, that would be it.
Let's unpack the trail cameras, because some people, have a few, some got a zillion. I have one friend on his farm. He's got a Wi-Fi setup. So every morning he gets up 3:30, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock and sees what happened, the previous 8 hours. And if somebody's, right there right now or moving one way or another, he knows, where they're headed or where they're coming from. So, let's unpack that a little bit more in your view of use of trail cameras.
Well, I've used a lot of trail cameras out on the market. Personally, I love SpyPoint. Great camera, and a new camera they actually come out with this year is a solar camera that you don't have to have batteries. And that's a big thing with trail cameras these days, is battery life. And I actually got these in this year, and I put them out, and man, are they great. They've worked flawless. You don't even have to have a lot of daylight to operate these. But, I use trail cameras all over my property, not even on the spots I hunt, just off trails, and just to see what kind of deer that I have on my farm, what caliber. It helps me keep an inventory on the deer that I have. And also, you can use them for security purposes. Also, you can see if anybody's trespassing, or you can use them at your house, see if anybody's been at your house not supposed to. But trail cameras impacted, my hunting greatly. I'll have 2 trail cameras on one tree, for different angles, try to see where the deer are coming from to my spot.
Now, do you just use GPS coordinates to remember where you put up all these trail cameras?
Yeah, there's an app. There's several apps out there. Personally, I use ScoutLook. Where I can save my trail cam locations and stand locations on it via aerial map, and that helps me keep track of where everything's at, and also my wind direction.
Let's talk about wind direction, because in hilly country, people say, well, you get swirls and you get the thermals and you get all that. And I hunt out west, so the thermals are pretty, which way they're going to go and what time, and you just have to watch the wind fronts coming through. But in your country, talk about, watching the wind.
Well, my area, we got rolling hollers. We don't have, big mountains or anything like that. I hunt, I pretty much know where my deer, what directions they're coming from, and I set my stands accordingly to the wind. Generally, I won't hunt my stands with a south wind at all. My spots aren't set up for that. Mostly a north wind. But, this new product that's out, Scent Crusher, I'm telling you, this year, I've hunted some spots just to see how well it worked with the horrible wind. And these deer literally did not smell me. They were 5 foot under my tree stand and did not smell me. None. And it was amazing. It blew my mind completely. But, the wind is important to hunt. You need to hunt the dominant wind, and know where your deer are coming from and put your stands accordingly.
Now, how do you get it into your stands? So it's dark 30, 4:30, 5 o'clock, if that's when you go in, or noontime for an afternoon sit. But let's talk about how you approach your stands. Well,
the spot I actually killed this buck at last Sunday, there's an old logging road that I parked my truck on, and I'm not 200 yards from my tree stand. Well, I walk in about an hour before daylight usually, and I get down that logging road pretty quiet. Periodically I'll take a leaf blower and I'll blow that trail out, and it'll help me walk in quietly. That's another tactic I use, but I usually get in about an hour before daylight, and I get in. I try to hunt not so far in the woods and disturb the areas or whatnot. Hunt pretty close to where I park at.
So are your stands in pinch and funnels, but I just heard you say they're on fringes? they're not, if you got a pinch or a funnel deep in the woods, you're not going in there. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, and I generally don't like to travel too deep in the woods. Here you got a lot of thickets, and generally that's where the deer are bedding at. And I try to find the areas outside of those, thickets and funnels, and hunt those. And a lot of times it's paid off for me because I'm not going in and bumping these deer out. People, they get in there so deep because there's a whole bunch of sign, and they get, all tore up. Oh, this is where I got to hunt at. You don't have to do that. And a lot of times it bites people in the butt because they go in and they bump these deer out and wonder why they don't see them. I hunt the edges of everything, and to me, that's led to my success.
Hey, Ben, we're coming up on the soft stop, so hey, take a couple minutes and give some shout outs. You've already mentioned Scent Crusher, and anybody else that you're on field staff or pro staff.
Well, like I touched on, we got some new game calls with American Roots Outdoors. We've got 2 different grunt models, a solid wood grunt, and then we got a grunt call with an extender tube on it. That's the one I used this past Sunday. They sound awesome. If you want to order one, you can go on American Roots Outdoors Facebook page, message us, and we'll get you details on how to buy them. They're selling for about $20. We have a can call, and we'll have some turkey calls and stuff coming out soon too. But we all use Hornady ammunition. We trust in it. I've used it since I was a kid. And, we're wearing lacrosse boots. Love them. They keep my feet warm because if my feet ain't warm, I can't hunt. We wear Mossy Oak camo. We use Chiappa firearms out of Italy. We got great partners, 5-point trail cameras. And another great partner we have is J&S Scents. About the freshest deer lure or scent I've ever used in my life. It's from one deer to the bottle. They send it in a cooler to you. Great product. I've had great success with deer coming in with it this year. So we're all thankful for our partners that we have.
And I'd like to close on this, on your Facebook page. One of your favorite quotes is, "Our greatest glory is never failing, but rising every time we fail." Ralph Waldo Emerson. So with that, thanks so much, Ben, for being a guest on Whitetail Rendezvous. And on behalf of all of the listeners across North America, Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Break. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for having me, man.
Anything that we missed?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all, man.
Yeah, and it's really easy. That's why I love, about it. I asked some questions and we rolled through them. But, it's a conversation, and everything we share, people can use if they think about it, they can apply it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right.
Well, any questions to me?
No. We're going to have, I'm going to make a post here in a little bit on our private page of American Roots. We're going to try to get all of our team members on your podcast.
Love to.
and get them to tell their stories and their traditions of hunting. And
love to have every single one of them.
Yeah. That's one thing that me and Alex talked about last night over the phone, is trying to get everybody on there. Everybody involved. You got a great thing going on, and we appreciate you. Having us on there.
You guys going to ATA?
Yes. I know Alex will be there. I will probably be there if I can get off. I think it's in Indianapolis this year. So
yeah, it's Indianapolis the 10th through the 12th.
Yes.
And I'll be there on the media side. And now you guys got to have a booth, or are you just going to be there?
I don't know exactly. I talked to Alex a while back about that, and I don't know. We haven't talked about it since, but I do know that he will be there. I don't know if there'll be a booth or not. I'm not sure. I know for a fact we'll all be at the NWTF convention in Nashville. I don't know if you attend that.
No, I don't. This is my first show. I have a partner, Bob, said, we need to go there. You've done, we're going to hit 100,000 downloads before the show. I've already done over 300 episodes. So proof of concept is there. Now it's time to say, okay, we're the real deal. And, I can talk with anybody about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it. And so that was important,
Yeah.
That was really
I'm gonna get more detail on ATA with Alex, and I'll shoot you an email.
Let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just shoot me an email, and I want to make sure that I do connect with them. At least, to chit chat. So
sure.
I'll send you one of my little ditties that I post all the time. You've seen it before, but you can use that to post on your private page to the guys and gals. And just one thing, if everybody said, okay, I want to be on, I wouldn't put everybody on back to back to back. There would be, one a week at max, just so you guys know, because, what I try to do for everybody is say, hey, I'm going to help everybody in the industry, have a voice and distribute it to all my listeners. But I want to stay away from the infomercials. I had somebody say, well, we could do this about my show, and I could tell you all good things. And we've had those discussions, and we talked about Sun Crusher and stuff like that. But it's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's how I look at it, and I might be right or might be wrong, and
I agree with you.
But I think if somebody said, "Hey, I want to have a show," I'll say, "Okay, let's do a show for XYZ, Knox. We'll build a show, you'll pay for it, and I'll do the work, and it'll just be an infomercial, just like you see on the cooking channel or anything." I said, I'm willing to do that, but as far as Whitetail Rendezvous, it's not it's for everybody.
Yeah. You're right. You gotta get.
All right, man.
I appreciate you having me on, Bruce.
All right, and you just have a great Christmas, will you, man?
Yeah, you too, man. You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
You don't want to miss our next episode. We're heading out to Utah, and we're going to meet up with Chelsea Wilkie. Now, Chelsea is a real camel girl. Check her out on Facebook. She grew up in a small town in central Utah, but she is a huntress. She brings insight, she brings determination, and she brings energy into every hunt. You're going to enjoy the show.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.